You know what I love about Stranger Things? The show vindicated everything that made me an outsider when I was a teenager. I was an outcast because I played Dungeons and Dragons, sucked at sports, and was on the AV squad.
One of the reasons I love the show is that it's a time machine. I mean, the way they depict the 80s, it's all exactly as I remember it. Well, mostly.
That show is like a pop culture museum of the 1980s.
And what's really great about it, the music.
Welcome back to Rockers to Doctors, the only show where two lifelong metalheads throw their data science and English PhDs at hard rock and metal. I am Dorian Prescott.
And I'm Nova Starwick, your friendly neighborhood Power BI expert. You can check us out at rockerstodoctors.com and all other socials at Rockers to Doctors.
Today, we are diving into Stranger Things soundtrack, specifically the rock, punk, and metal that turned the supernatural 80s nostalgia show into the world's most powerful music PR agency.
Seriously, forget Spotify playlists or TikTok challenges. You want a 40-year-old song to hit the Billboard charts again? Just have 11 glare meaningfully while it plays.
We're highlighting artists whose songs got resurrected or supercharged by the Upside Down. We'll break down the history of each song, how it's used in the show, and what it did for the band afterwards.
Buckle up, kids. Let's enter the Upside Down in 3, 2, 1.
The first artist and song we're going to look at today is the most obvious, Kate Bush, with her song Running Up That Hill. Because of Stranger Things, that song ran back up the charts almost 40 years later.
Okay, yes, it's not metal, not even rock, really, but we have to start here because this song basically became the modern day anthem of Stranger Things.
Kate Bush watched her song go from respected cult classic to global #1 smash again in 2022 because the character Max had a really rough week.
Kate Bush released Running Up That Hill in '85 off the album Hounds of Love. It charted well originally, reaching the top 30 in the US and the top 3 in the UK, but nothing like the cinematic sonic superweapon it became.
If you recall, this was featured throughout season 4 and 5. Max is being hunted by the world's angriest interdimensional chiropractor, and suddenly the song becomes her psychic life preserver. Those are a lot of mixed metaphors. Let me try this again. Max is being hunted by Vecna, aka Henry, aka Subject 001, who is the mind controlling monster from the Upside Down. He kills teenagers by lifting them into the air and cracking their backs and necks with his arms. Which I believe allows him to open portals to the Upside Down. Do I have that right?
Uh, yes, kids, there may be some spoilers today.
Mm. Well, Max is able to temporarily thwart Vecna by listening to Running Up That Hill on her headphones. Listening to it gives her psychic protection and grounds her in her own world. Well, we heard that song at least 10 times that season alone, so of course, younger viewers couldn't help but be turned on to that song.
And boom, sales go up thousands of percent. Streams explode, entire new generations discovering Kate Bush. And Kate herself reportedly making over $2 million in royalties from the resurgence.
2 million. I mean, I imagine what that must have been like for her. I'd cry for joy if some song I'd written when I was 22 ended up going viral when I'm 66 years old and lands me $2 million. If you read interviews with Kate, well, she's so delighted about the renewed attention.
The takeaway, the show gave her the biggest commercial moment of her career, 37 years after the song dropped. If that isn't time turning upside down, I don't know what is.
All right, folks, this song's got one of the most iconic riffs of the entire 1980s, Scorpions' Rock You Like a Hurricane. This song's so powerful that if you blast it loud enough, a demigorgon will start headbanging with you.
Released in 1984 on Scorpions' album Love at First Sting, this track is basically German-engineered hard rock perfection. It's fast, loud, catchy, and has a chorus specifically calibrated to shake stadium rafters.
The song shows up in Stranger Things Season 2, perfectly capturing the ramped up, hyped up 80s energy the show leans on. Now, in Stranger Things, Rock You Like a Hurricane shows up in Season 2 during Billy's introduction. And honestly, that is perfect. Billy Hargrove is Max's abusive stepbrother, an angry bad boy alpha male with a mullet and a lifetime of deep hatred. He's worse than any bully on the show, but eventually he does redeem himself. Billy is exactly the kind of guy who blasts the Scorpions while peeling into the school parking lot at 90 miles an hour in a Camaro.
It's the perfect introduction. The camera borrows Nancy and Steve's perspective, and the Camaro soars through the parking lot. Their eyes convey hesitation and worry, which signals to viewers that they should be worried too.
The car door opens, still blasting the song, and the camera zooms in on his boot as he steps out of the car. The camera then moves up his body from the back, climbing his denim jacket until he turns around, bearing a beautiful mullet and mustache, but eyes that look possessed.
The song's energy, that snarling riff, those pounding drums, tells you everything you need to know.
Billy isn't just the new kid, he's the new problem.
So let's rewind a moment. Historically, Rock You Like a Hurricane was the song that made the Scorpions global heavy hitters. It charted high, got wall to wall MTV plays, and became one of the definitive hard rock anthems of the decade. Its dueling solos are responsible for approximately 40% of all air guitar injuries.
The lyrics, the riffs, the whole thing is built for adrenaline.
After being featured on the show, the track saw a noticeable revival in streams. Younger fans who might have only known the Scorpions from Winds of Change or from the fact their dad plays this song every time he grills, good choice, Dad, suddenly started diving into the band's heavier catalog.
It also continued something the show is great at, reminding modern viewers that the 80s weren't all just synths and soft focus romance. There were also leather jackets, Marshall stacks, and riffs that could crack open the upside down.
For the Scorpions, the renewed spotlight is a nice nod to the era where they were a dominant force. These guys toured relentlessly, wrote absolute bangers, and crafted a sound that bridges classic rock, metal, and European precision engineering.
Hmm, you're using the past tense.
Yeah, you're right. I suppose I should be talking about Scorpions in present tense because they still play live. It'd be great to have one last album, something celebrating their 50 years as a band.
So when Rock You Like a Hurricane blares in Stranger Things, it's not just nostalgia. It's a message aimed directly at Scorpions. Get your act together. We'd pay to see you play.
This next song is about the devil, but it's also about being the life of the party, the crazy guy who everyone admires but won't get too close to.
Let's talk about one of the heaviest songs featured on Stranger Things. Actually, it's the second heaviest in the whole series, unless they bring in some Slayer and Megadeth this season. The song we're talking about is Mötley Crüe's Shout at the Devil.
Released in 1983 from the album of the same name, this was the crew in their prime. Leather, pyro, eyeliners thick enough to be visible from space, and an apparent obsession with satanic imagery and symbols.
The history is wild. Shout at the Devil was controversial from day one. Parents thought the band was encouraging Satanism, when in reality, the guys were just shouting at anything that annoyed them, which was everything.
Back in 83 and 84, the band faced a lot of criticism for that song. In one interview, Nikki Sixx explained ironically that the song is in fact very Christian.
He pointed out that the lyrics encouraged fans to shout at the devil, not with or for the devil.
Nice distinction. Now, in Stranger Things, Shout at the Devil shows up in season 2, episode 2, Trick or Treat Freak. It builds off the previous introduction of Billy with Rock You Like a Hurricane and shows us his high school classmates, how they regarded him by and large.
The scene is a high school Halloween party. We hear Shout at the Devil playing while teens sing and dance outside. We see Billy looking like a real tough guy, drinking vast quantities of alcohol at the keg, and everyone chanting, chug, chug, chug. We can see how everyone is in awe of Billy. They cheer after he vacuums the alcohol into his system. He lights a cigarette, further enforcing that he is the tough guy.
The song is perfect for the occasion. If there's one thing everyone knows about Mötley Crüe, it's that they were the biggest party band of the decade. They were all about chemical excess, sex, and danger. When the camera pans over the kids partying, we get the sense that we're at a backstage party at a cruise show. In fact, this moment in Stranger Things looks strikingly similar to the opening scene of The Dirt, the Motley Crue biopic. It's the same camera perspective, same situation, identical party, just minus the rock stars.
Hmm. Same old story, same situation. The Duffer Brothers might have done this deliberately, that is, mirroring the opening of The Dirt. After all, both Stranger Things and The Dirt were Netflix productions.
Fun trivia if you haven't had enough already. But the song originally had a more occult vibe in their early demos. But the band changed parts of it to make it more of a good versus evil stand up for yourself anthem. But with Motley Crue, even their uplifting messages sound like they involve kicking down the doors of a biker bar.
After appearing on the show, Shout at the Devil saw a noticeable spike in streams, especially among younger listeners who were like, wait, this band is chaos. Cool.
The song's placement also fits Stranger Things' loves for bridging everyday teenage angst with supernatural danger. Because what says Welcome to Hawkins more than a track that sounds like you're challenging a demonic entity?
So, yes, Shout at the Devil got a second life. But here's a fun fact the season 3 trailer also featured a different Motley Crue song, Home Sweet Home.
That's absolutely fitting as well.
Okay, so not a metal song, again, but a song from a band that inspired the birth of the pop punk and ska genres. Bands ranging from Green Day to No Doubt list them as a top influence. The song is Should I Stay or Should I Go from The Clash.
This one is basically the theme song of season one. All hope is hinged on this tune. In season one, Will Byers is trapped inside the Upside Down. Eventually, Will tries to communicate with his mother Joyce by using that song. Through supernatural means, he's able to access the cassette player in his bedroom, and that's the song that comes on.
The Duffers frame that song as deeply significant. In a flashback, we see Jonathan Byers introduce his younger brother Will to the song in order to drown out the sounds of their parents arguing. Jonathan tells Will that the song and the band will totally change his life. It signifies a meaningful connection between the two brothers.
When Joyce attempts to flee the house after witnessing the Demogorgon for the first time, the song comes on her car radio. The lyrics, "If I go, there will be trouble, and if I stay, there will be double," strengthen her resolve to go back into the house and to continue to search for Will.
The song is from The Clash's 1982 album Combat Rocks. In my opinion, and in the opinion of many others, this is not one of the better Clash albums, but it did feature two hits, Rock the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go? Originally a hit, but not the mega ubiquitous anthem that it would become later.
After season one aired, the song experienced a 300% increase in streaming almost overnight. It re entered charts in multiple countries, and like with other featured songs, it introduced the band to younger crowds.
Ah, a whole new generation saying, Mom, have you heard of this band? They're called The Clash. Somewhere in rock heaven, Joe Strummer smiles and lights a cigarette. All right, next in our tour through the Stranger Things rock and roll time machine, we've got Bon Jovi's hit song, Runaway. Runaway to the Upside Down.
Since Dorian has crowned me the queen of all things Bon Jovi, I'll give you the rundown on Runaway. This song was actually the debut single from Bon Jovi's first album, recorded before the band was a proper band. John and George Carrick, a friend, wrote it when John was only 20 years old and working at his cousin Tony's Power Station recording studio in New York.
Dude, he was just a kid.
The song was one of several demos he recorded in 1981 and 82 with the help of session musicians around the studio. It was written as a catchy rock tune with new wave touches built around a distinctive staccato keyboard riff that would become its signature.
Fun fact, one of the session players on that track was said to be Roy Bittan, the keyboard player from Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, though there's no written confirmation of this.
The song got attention when the New Jersey radio station WAPP 103.5, The Apple, held a contest for local bands called Homegrown. John submitted Runaway as a one-off demo. It blew up. WAPP put it into rotation and it became one of the station's most requested songs. Other stations in the tri state area picked it up, and suddenly John Bon Jovi had a regional hit before he even had a band.
That local buzz basically forced the formation of the official Bon Jovi lineup.
Musically, Runaway is this energetic hard rock, metal, power pop mix. The kind of thing that sounds like Teenage Rebellion. 3 minutes and 52 seconds of cinch tinged guitars, pounding drums, and a chorus that you find yourself singing in the shower after only hearing it once.
In the context of Stranger Things, Runaway appears in season 2. It slots right into that mid 80s angst vibe the show thrives on. But it's in that weird episode. Diehards know which one I'm talking about, the one that didn't quite fit in yet.
This is the episode where Eleven, who'd left Hawkins, ends up in Chicago searching for the keys to her past, for her missing family. We see Eleven get off a Greyhound bus into the gritty streets of Chicago, a stark contrast to the streets of Hawkins. And as you remember, we learn that there are a bunch of other kids who share the same predicament as Eleven.
The song's lyrics entitle Mirror L's situation as she runs away from her difficult relationship with Hopper to find answers about her past and the other kids from the Hawkins lab.
In fact, the song is relevant to all the main kids in Stranger Things. They're outsiders, misfits, with families broken or fractured, always almost on the run from something they don't understand. The song becomes more than music. It becomes the emotional undercurrent for teenage alienation and danger.
As for what being in Stranger Things did for Bon Jovi, well, most teens and young adults actually know who Bon Jovi is, or they can at least recognize Living on a Prayer as it's one of the quintessential pop hits of the 80s. Perhaps this encouraged young folks to blow the dust off their parents' Bon Jovi records and cassettes.
It's kind of awesome, a song that helped start the band, re-emerging decades later.
And also, for fans who always thought Bon Jovi was just about big hair and ballads, Runaway shows a scrapier, roughed around the edges tone that fits Stranger Things like a demon glove.
So, yeah, Runaway isn't just background music in the world of Hawkins and interdimensional horror, it's a plea and a perfect example of how good 80s rock was.
To me, this is one of the most unexpected, powerful, and heartbreaking moments in Stranger Things. This is when Eddie Munson plugged his electric guitar in and played along to Metallica's Master of Puppets. This was the moment that made every metalhead shout, "We have been seen, finally!" I mean, you should have seen the smile on my face the second I heard that opening riff. I was like, dude, yes, they're recognizing Metallica. But then,
Yeah, really sad. So in season 4, Eddie Munson, the leader of the Hellfire Club, takes center stage. In this pivotal scene, he stands on the roof of his trailer in the Upside Down and heroically plays Metallica's Master of Puppets on his guitar. The loud, intense music draws the swarming demo bats away from the Creel house, where the others are fighting Vecna. His guitar chops create a diversion that allows Steve, Nancy, and Robin to attack Vecna. It also allows Max to escape. This sets up the climactic battle against evil in the finale.
truly, one of the most iconic moments on the show. Eddie sacrifices himself for his friends, and the monsters devour him.
For many, Eddie was one of the most beloved characters for his sincerity, warmth, and relatable nature. He's a perfect symbol of the good natured folks who make up the metal community. Eddie reinforces that. Yeah, the long hair and dark jackets might look scary, but metalheads tend to have really big hearts.
Indeed. Master of Puppets is the title track from Metallica's 1986 thrash masterpiece. It's arguably one of the best metal songs of all times. It's 8 minutes and 35 seconds of relentless riffage. The song is about drug addiction, particularly cocaine. It depicts how addiction controls the user like a puppet.
Already iconic, already legendary. But Stranger Things took it to a whole new level. The scene was so perfectly executed that even fans who didn't like metal were like, okay, fine, I get it, this slaps.
The band themselves approved of the inclusion personally. Robert Trujillo's son, Ty, even contributed additional bass tracks to the performance, so it would sound authentic to Eddie's character.
And the result? Streams skyrocketed. Like, this came in at number 2 right after Kate Bush. This song entered the Billboard Hot 100 for the first time ever, 36 years after its release.
I was so stoked about that. There's a vast difference between 80s Metallica and 90s Metallica. So if Eddie's scene got kids to listen to the band for the first time, well, their experiences matches my own when I was 12 and heard Metallica's song Creeping Death. I'd never heard anything so loud and chaotic and perfect in my life.
Either way, Stranger Things' use of the song reintroduced Metallica's greatness, but also solidified Eddie Munson as a cult hero, the metalhead who saved the world through a guitar solo. So there you have it. Some of the great artists who got pulled through the upside down, shook hands with the Demogorgon, and came out in a higher income bracket on the other side.
Stranger Things has become this strange time machine that revitalizes songs decades after they've dropped. It's basically the best record store employee who ever lived.
Max's trauma brought Kate Bush back. Eddie's shredding reintroduced Metallica to the teenagers. Will Byers gave The Clash another victory lap. But do you feel like something is missing? Do you feel like there's a perfect band or a perfect song that you hope to hear in the remaining episodes?
Are you asking me?
You and everyone else.
Uh, I was tempted to write in a segment on Europe's final countdown, which isn't in the show, but apparently fans have been begging the Duffers to include it. There are a ton of fan-made Stranger Things final countdown videos, but personally, well, I think Eddie is coming back at the end of all this. I won't explain why. Either way, he's heavily associated with Iron Maiden. I believe he had an Iron Maiden patch, pin, poster.
He was also wearing a Dio shirt.
He was. And I saw a student where I work wearing a Dio shirt just last week. I love that. Anyway, Eddie's name is Eddie, who is the Munster mascot from Iron Maiden. You can see what he looks like on the cover of Live After Death. That's their awesome live album from 1986, I think. If we keep things in the realm of Maiden, I'd love to hear the song Run to the Hills on this show.
That'd be a good one. So, while Eddie may now come back, but one thing Stranger Things shows us is that great music never dies. What I would like to hear on Stranger Things, and you're never going to guess these because I'm sure you're thinking a different direction. You're thinking, oh, Bon Jovi or something like that. But no, I thought about this and I thought about the time period. And the one that I would go for, there's actually two. So the first one that I would go for would be Separate Ways from Journey. Do you remember that one?
Okay. Yeah.
I would go with that one. The other I was thinking was Peter Gabriel, Red Rain.
I don't know that song,
Oh, you have to hear it. It's a
Red
good one.
Rain. I mean,
Yeah,
I,
Red
I could
Rain.
see how the red rain imagery, I mean, like that sort of like blood red sky. Yeah.
Yeah, the things they say, and just the sound of it. Like I could hear, you know how they take little bits and pieces of Kate Bush running up the hill,
Hmm.
and intersperse it. I could hear that with both songs, actually, just interspersing little bits here and there.
Which was the Journey song? Which one was that again?
Separate Ways.
Okay, so that's like that would in the context of the show that would be great. Like if we get some resolve to the 11 and her relationship with
Well, it could help wrap up multiple relationships because
ah,
there's, tension
yeah.
with Nancy and Jonathan and Steve. There's tension with Will and Mike, and a lot of people are thinking they should get together.
Hmm.
Will that happen? Then we got Robin and her new lady friend.
Yep.
And
Yep.
plus, separate ways, worlds apart. Some of them are in the upside down and some
Uh-huh.
of them
It's
are
good.
not.
It's good. Right?
So I could see it playing out on multiple levels.
Maybe the Duffers need to hire you. Hmm.
I'm available.
Yeah. Or maybe the Duffers need to become the wealthy benefactors that we were appealing to in our last episode.
Oh yeah, please be our benefactor.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us.
You can check us out on social media at Rockers to Doctors, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And you can also listen to our full-length podcast on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts.
Until then, stay loud, stay curious, headbanging with a hypothesis.